All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to put language under a microscope. We're not just going to look at words, we're going to look inside of them to see the hidden architecture that really makes them tick. Okay, let's start with our first specimen, right here on the lab table, ambimoustress. Now, you've probably never seen this word in your life, right? But I bet you have a pretty good guess what it means. Something like being able to use a computer mouse with both your left and your right hand. It's strange, isn't it? It feels so understandable, even though it's new. But how is that possible? Where in the world does a word like this even come from?
Well, here's the secret. It wasn't just made up out of thin air. It was actually built, almost engineered, from a word we already know and understand, ambidextrous. We all know what ambidextrous means, right? It's being able to use either of your hands equally well. Think of this as our blueprint. It's the original model that we're about to tinker with. What happens next is like a tiny little surgical procedure on the word itself. First, we identify that middle part, dexter, which is related to the idea of the right hand. Then we just snip it out, remove it completely. And in its place, we precisely insert a new element, mouse. And voila, we've created our new word, ambimoustrous. And that little operation just showed us something huge. It proves that a single word isn't always one solid, unbreakable thing. No, it often has internal parts, different pieces that each bring their own meaning to the table.
So this gets you thinking, doesn't it? We usually just assume that words are the chunks of text separated by spaces on a page. But is it really that simple?
To really get to the bottom of this, we need to look outside of English for a minute. Think about the phrase, I will love you. In English, that's 4 distinct blocks, 4 words. But what if I told you that other languages can package that exact same idea very differently?
Let's get our next specimen ready. In the Swahili language, that entire message, I will love you, is all bundled up into this one single, unbroken form, nitakupenda. One piece, no spaces.
But here's where it gets really cool. When we put that form under the microscope and slice it up, we find something amazing. It looks like one solid block, but it's actually made of 4 distinct pieces of meaning. And look at that. They line up perfectly with the 4 English words. Let's lay this out nice and clear. That first little bit, ni, that just means I. The next bit, ta, that's what signals the future tense, so will. Then you've got ku, which means you. And finally, the root of it all, penda, which means love. 4 separate ideas, all perfectly fused together into one.
You see, this is the whole point. To really understand how language works, we can't just count the stuff between the spaces. We have to train ourselves to see the meaningful elements that build the message, no matter how they're packaged. Now, this whole process of taking words apart to find their core pieces, it's not just a neat party trick. It's a real field of science. So, what do we actually call it? It's called morphology. It literally just means the study of forms. And it's the official science of investigating these fundamental building blocks in a language, exactly what we've been doing here.
And what about those little blocks themselves? The smallest pieces, like ni or ta, or even that dexter part we swapped out earlier. Well, they have a name too. They're called morphemes. A morpheme is the absolute smallest unit of meaning you can find in any language. It's like an atom of meaning.
So let's do a quick recap of what we've uncovered. First, words aren't solid objects. They have internal parts. Second, we call these fundamental parts morphemes. Third, a morpheme is the smallest possible piece of a message that actually carries meaning. And finally, this whole idea, it's a key that unlocks how languages work all across the globe.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought for you to take away. Now that you know how to look for them, what hidden parts, what fascinating little morphemes are you going to find hiding inside the words that you use every single day?